Wait, I have pushed your stream live, and now you can make me a co-host. Thank you.
Right. Good. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Lynette. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Looking forward to your class.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for joining. Hey, Barbara. Glad to see you. You're still muted, Barbara. There you go.
Thank you. When I took my class, a class from you last week, I was telling you how I couldn't get my calendar to link from my phone to my computer.
Uh-huh.
You suggested that I just take the app off, Google app off my phone and reinstall it, which I did, but it's still not syncing.
And
I
you're
can,
sure?
if I put something on the calendar on the computer, it will link to my phone. But if I do the phone first, it won't link to the computer.
Wow. So, okay. So that answered my first question. I was wondering if there were maybe different Google accounts, but if they link
No.
one direction, but it doesn't link the other direction.
Right, it's the same Google account.
Yeah. Okay. And you're using the Google Calendar app, not another
Yep.
calendar app on your
Right.
phone. Okay. Yeah, that one you're probably going to have to go to Google Help because there's
I
something
did that,
strange going
and
there.
nobody could help me. I already did that.
That is so
And
strange.
they will only help you through the chat, and that just didn't work for that. And maybe I should just try and see if I can get another person to chat with me.
Yeah, try a different person. I'm almost thinking it's a setting somewhere, but I don't know what that setting
Yeah,
would
I
be.
think it's a setting somewhere too, but I just haven't been able to figure it out.
It goes from the browser to the phone, but it won't go from the phone to the browser. Is that correct?
Right.
So there's something, yeah, it can, but it could be a setting either place. I'm guessing it's on the phone is where the setting
That's what I
is.
think too. Yep.
Okay, if I, let me take a look at that out of curiosity. I think it'll be more luck than anything else if I find it. But if I do, I'll let you know.
Okay, thank you. I've been looking forward to this class today.
Thanks.
It's my third one in a row, so whew, I'm getting tired.
Yeah.
I'm still, I don't know, I'm just addicted to this, I think, a little too much.
Oh, we'll keep it nice and easy this afternoon. Glad to have you though, Nelda.
Walk around at times like I'm doing now. Because
I just had a cup of coffee, so I'm good to go now. Hi, Kelly, you there?
I'm here, yes.
Welcome. And Danya?
Hello, thank you.
Oh, there you are. Okay. Just to make sure everybody's here. We're going to have a fairly small class this afternoon. So that is nice for this class because we got a number of things that are fairly complex, but that gives everybody time to ask all their questions and get everything covered. And I usually allow some time just for general questions in this one as well, since this is the intermediate class. So we can kind of go into a couple of other things beyond the things I've got on the agenda. Okay, we probably
Last time you showed us how to do birthdays, so I've been putting birthdays on with through my contacts.
Okay, that works. Yeah, that's a
Well,
time
it does,
saver.
but it doesn't do for little kids. Like I did my grandchildren, and I've been trying to figure out today. In fact, I was playing around trying to figure out what has to be on that contact in order for it to go on to the calendar. Because my grandchildren, they don't really have a whole lot of stuff to put in there, but I haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah, I haven't.
But everybody else, yes, if they have a phone number and an email and all that other stuff, yes.
Maybe it has to have either a phone number or an email. That would be surprising, but that might put
Well,
in
my one
mom's
granddaughter
email
has an
and
email, and I put her dad's phone number in there, but it still didn't
it
link.
didn't work. That's interesting.
I
You're
saw
you're digging out all the obscure things.
Yeah.
You'll be teaching this class before we're done. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get the technology squared away here and get ready, since it's just about time to get started. Hopefully we'll have a few more people coming in, but let me go ahead and share my screen and let's get set up and ready. So you should be seeing my slides now, and I'm going to move all of your pictures over to my other monitor here so I can see you over here. All right, there we go. And I'm going to leave everyone unmuted for now, since we got a fairly small group. But if we do start picking up any background noise or echoes or anything, I'll mute everyone. So just remember to keep checking before you ask questions to see if you're muted. And if you are, unmute yourself. Hey, Pat, saw you sneak in there. Welcome. Good to see you again. All right. And I'm going to open up the chat as well. So if anybody is having any problems with their microphone, you can use the chat to get to us. And Todd from our TA group is here to help monitor the chat and manage the class. Todd, thanks for joining. Appreciate your help. But if your microphone is working, just go ahead and ask your questions out loud. That way everyone can hear your questions and I will hear them on a timely basis as well. We'll make this a conversation since we got a fairly small group here today. And we have everything organized, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Yes, so this is Google Calendar Intermediate. So this is the follow-on to the Mastering Google Calendar, which is basically the basics class. I do want to thank you for attending and hope you'll learn some things today that will be interesting and informative. My name is Wade Yarbrough, and I'm the guide for the class today. A little about my background. I was born and raised in a small town called Mason, Tennessee, about 35 miles outside of Memphis, Tennessee. Got my degree in psychology at West Virginia University. It's experimental psychology, not clinical psychology, so I'm not going to be psychoanalyzing anybody. And I've taught psychology off and on, but most of my career I spent designing, installing, and training users on healthcare information systems, primarily in hospitals. And what I love about teaching here is that I get to teach people that are in the class because you're interested in the class, not because you are forced to take the class. And that's what we try to do. It gets set up is to create an environment where you can learn things you're interested in with other people that are interested in the same topic, where you can ask questions, interact with each other, hopefully making it a very safe and informal environment. So the session is being recorded, and anyone can request a copy of that recording by sending an email to help@getsetup.io. We'll put that in the chat. In case you don't already have that in your email contacts, go ahead and copy and paste that. We're also live streaming the class today, so I do want to welcome anyone joining us via live stream. Thanks for joining as well. Hope you enjoyed the class, but the only way you can get that full get setup experience where you can interact with the other learners and also interact with the guide is to go to our website and register for the class. And finally, Get Set Up is not paid to promote any of the products we train on. We are purely trainers. So for the class today, we're going to pick up on things that are often asked about in the Mastering Your Google Calendar class that we don't have time to get into. And that's adding in managing multiple calendars. So we're going to spend a good bit of time on there, how to share your calendar. And we'll spend some time talking about adding and managing tasks and going into some of the settings. So we're going to be fairly flexible today. So we're certainly open to questions in this class. We've got a little extra time, hopefully, for general questions. So I'm going to switch out my browsers quickly. Well, I just put this one over the top. So I've got Google Calendar already up and running, so we can get started. Again, I'm assuming everybody knows how to get to Google Calendar and the basic navigation. We cover all that in the other class. So we're going to jump right into the basics here and talk about managing calendars. So we're going to start with our personal calendar. And so your calendars are down here in the lower left side. The top four are all personal calendars. These come with Google Calendar. So when you set up your account, you should have these already. I'm going to go into settings for your personal calendar. And you just click on the triple dot there beside the name of the calendar. And then you can go into settings and sharing. And we're going to go over several of these, not all the settings, but you can change the name of your personal calendar. I changed mine to Wade Personal. It usually has a fairly cryptic name, so you can do that. You can add a description if you need to put a description in there. I don't think that shows up anywhere except for your own personal use. You can set the time zone. It usually will set by your clock on your computer, but you can override that and set it here. And we're going to go down and talk about sharing your calendars. So I can share my calendar with other people. And it's pretty easy to do that. I'm already sharing my calendar with my other Google account. This is my work account. So I've already shared my personal calendar with my work account. But let's say I want to share my calendar with my wife so she can see what's on my calendar. So it's very easy to add people. So all I have to do is enter her Gmail account. And there it is. Usually if you start typing, it'll show up. And I can add another email if I want to share it with additional people. I can determine what permissions I want to give her. So I can say that she can see only busy free. So in that case, she would see that I have something at 9 o'clock. She can't see what I have at 9 o'clock, but she can see that I'm busy from 9 to 10. I could let her see all the details so she could see what the event is from 9 to 10 o'clock. I can give her administrative control so she can make changes to those events. Also not only make changes, but manage the sharing features as well. So she could share my calendar with someone else. These are used more for a situation where you've got administrative assistant or someone that manages your calendar for you, but it could be a family member. Most of the time you're doing one of these first two. So, but since it's just my wife, I'll let her manage change events on the calendar as well. And then I would just hit send, and that will send an email to her. And she can click on that and add it to her calendar. So now my calendar would be showing up on her calendar. I can come back here later and change my mind about what I want her to do. If I want to just let her see the events, but not change anything on my calendar, I can change.
Where was the send? I missed that.
It was down at the,
Send it?
yeah, it's right there at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Wade, so does it mean that the activities that you have on your calendar now appear on her calendar?
Yeah, and it'll be, let me go back to the, so it'll be down here on her calendar. It'll be an other calendar. So it would have Wade's calendar, Wade personal down here as an other calendar on her calendar. It wouldn't be mixed in with hers.
Oh,
It's the
okay.
same color.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Um, any other questions about sharing your calendar with someone else?
Again, I just shared my calendar with my husband.
Uh-huh.
On the other calendars, I don't see him listed yet.
Well, so you shared it, he'd have to share his with you. So it's just a one-way sharing. You've now shared yours with him. He'd have to come back and share his with you.
Oh, he doesn't even have one, but I just thought he could see, but he can see mine right now, right?
Yes, so he would be able to see yours right now. Again, you can go in and change that
Yeah,
if you want to go in and take it out, because you go back into your calendar. This is the one you've shared.
uh-huh,
So you go back in here and go into settings, and you can see who you've shared with.
right.
And if I change my mind, I could just delete this, and you're basically unsharing your calendar.
I see. Well, I don't mind him seeing my calendar. I just thought that I could see his, but he doesn't have anything on his.
Okay.
I don't,
And so we're gonna go there next as to how you could see his on your calendar. So we're gonna go down here to the bottom part, and we talk about this in the other class, the birthdays and the reminders and the tasks. But any of those, you have questions about any of those, we can talk about those at the end of class. But this is where I can add other calendars to my calendar. Okay. So I'm gonna click on this. And there's several ways that you can do this. Subscribe to calendar is restricted to Google calendars. But if I want to subscribe to an existing Google calendar, I can go into here. And so in this case, now I'm going to ask my wife to see her calendar. So I say, what calendar do I want to see? And I say, and here it is, kmdyarborough@gmail. Now, I don't have access to her calendar yet. She hasn't granted me access. So I do this so that you'll know that people can't just go grab your calendar if they know your email address. They would, if they try to, it's going to say that what I'm saying here, you don't have access. You can request access. This will send them an email saying Wade would like to have access to your calendar. And if you haven't talked to that person already, you can put a message here why you want to get access to your family member or friend's calendar, whoever it is. You can request access to anyone's Google Calendar. If you've got their email address, they would have to grant that request before you could access it. So I'm not going to send this. She doesn't use Google Calendar, so and I want to leave this for my next time I teach the class. But that's how you could request access to a calendar you don't currently have access to. Let me do the same thing, but I'm going to go to a calendar that I do have access to, and that is my work calendar. So I've already granted myself access to that calendar. So if I want to add that to this calendar, I can do this, and it brings up that calendar. Now, if I go back, I now have Wade's Get Set Up calendar down here, Wade's personal calendar up here. That name that you give your calendar carries over to anyone that you're sharing it with. So you can now see, and they're close to the same color. So I'm going to change the color so it's going to be easier to pick them out. And let's make the work one be yellow and my personal one be blue, so you can kind of see the difference. And you notice here, this one is set up that I can only see busy open. So I can see that I've got something at 12:30 to 1:30. I can't see what it is. When I click on it, it doesn't tell me anything other than just that I'm busy. So that was that one setting that I showed you where you can, when you share your calendar, you can decide what that person can see. I can turn that on and off just by clicking here. So maybe I don't want that clogging up my calendar all the time. If that's my spouse's calendar, maybe I'm trying to find a time. I'm on the phone with somebody that wants to have dinner with us and they say, are you busy Thursday night? I could open my wife's calendar and check and see, okay, we're both open on Thursday night. Yeah, we can come to dinner. So that's kind of a scenario where it might be handy to have your spouses and maybe even your other family members' calendars on your calendar. Most of the time, you'd probably have it turned off like that. Questions about bringing in another Google Calendar?
Just for clarification, you are integrating the other calendar with your calendar.
I am, yes, I am displaying it. Again, you notice I can't do anything to it.
Okay, yeah.
Give me that right. I can't edit it. I can't delete this from my calendar. I can just see it. So
Okay.
I want to be careful how we say integrating. So I would say seeing a copy of their calendar.
Okay.
Now, if they had given me that right that said I can actually manage the calendar, then I could go in and change this. I could delete it. But in most cases, you're not going to give somebody that access to your calendar.
Thank you.
And now there was one other thing I meant to show you that I forgot to. Let me that we cover in the other class, but just since we're talking about calendars, I'm going to do it again here to show you all the different types of calendars you can do. Because these are other calendars. These aren't part of my calendar, but I can add another calendar in with my calendars up here. And I'll use the same scenario I used in the other class. And this is the second option of creating a new calendar. So subscribing to a calendar was subscribing to another Google Calendar. This is creating a new calendar that is another personal calendar. And so maybe I work for Habitat for Humanities, and there's lots of things going on related to my work with Habitat. And so I want to be able to separate that out on my calendar. Now, in this case, this is another personal calendar that I own. So this one I can do anything to because it's one of my calendars. So when I create an event over here and say Saturday morning, we're going to meet and work on one of the houses, I can click here. And here I can change the calendar. And I can say, this is part of my Habitat calendar, not my personal calendar. We're going to be working from 11 in the morning until noon, 10 until noon. I can save that. And so now here's my Habitat. And again, I can turn that off if I don't want to see my Habitat stuff on the calendar. I can turn it back on. I can turn my personal stuff off. Anything over here you can turn on and off. But this is a way where you can make it simple. You give it a different color so it's easy to see which is which. It's probably the biggest reason to have another one. And so you can turn them on and off. Other than that, I could just put a regular event on my personal calendar saying work at the Smith home. It would work just as well, but that's another option.
Wade, I don't see that sliding bar that you have next to your calendar, where it says May calendar and you know my calendars and all of that. I don't have that bar that you can swing up and down. I don't know why. That one, yes.
This one?
No, the one you just touched. That one.
Oh, you may not. Can you see all of this?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Yeah, this is only because I'm on a narrow screen, and so if I was on a full screen, it would go away.
Oh. Okay.
As long as if you can see it all, you don't need the bar.
Okay.
It comes and goes if you've got. I'm on a narrow laptop. So,
Okay.
yeah, if I was on my other monitor, it would go away. Yep. Good question.
Okay.
Right. Now let's look at another type of calendar. And please ask questions. This gets a little complicated. This is why this is way more than I wanted to get into in the other class. But the next thing we want to do is, well, let's just go in order here. So we talked about subscribing to a Google Calendar. We talked about creating a new personal calendar. That was my Habitat calendar. Next thing is what they call calendars of interest. And so if I click this, This is where you can pick different things. This is usually selected by default. This is to make the birthdays work from your contacts. But there also you can have regional holidays. And so if you are from another country and you want to have the holidays from that country on your calendar, you can mark holidays from Belgium and have them show up on your calendar. By default, it has the US calendars checked. We're way down here somewhere. Oh. Well, I must have scrolled right by it, but there, holidays in the United States is in there checked off, but you can check off other countries. It's got religious holidays. So if you have a different faith, you can have those put on your calendar. There's lots of sports related things in here. So if you follow the Major League Baseball and you're a fan of the Atlanta Braves, you could click here and all the Atlanta Braves games would be on your calendar. So these are all other things that you can put on your calendar if you're so inclined. The last one, the other sports, and the last one here is phases of the moon, which I checked just to kind of have another example. So that's what calendars of interest is. That's where this phases of the moon came from. Sports people enjoy putting those sports events on there. And the next one, the last one we'll talk about is from URL. And what this allows me to do is to bring in a calendar that's not a Google Calendar. So for instance, I have an Apple Calendar as well. I don't really use it, but for this class, I'll show you how it works. But maybe you use Apple Calendar a lot and you want to be able to see your Apple Calendar on your Google Calendar. And this one gets complicated because it's different depending on what calendar you're bringing in, whether you're bringing in an Apple Calendar, a Yahoo Calendar, a Outlook Calendar. They all work similarly in that you've got to start with that calendar and get a URL. So let me show you how that would work with Apple as a for instance. In the email that comes out after class, I'll have links to show you how to do that with the other main calendars, the Outlook and Yahoo, and as well as Apple. But I'm going to bring in my iCloud calendar. So I'm going to go to iCloud. So I'm going to log into my iCloud account and go to my iCloud calendar. And I'm going to settings, which is right here on my iCloud calendar. This says sharing information. And here's what I'm looking for, share my public calendar. And it says copy the link. So this is that URL that I need to copy from the calendar that I want to see in my Google Calendar. So you would do this with Yahoo or Outlook. You have to get to wherever it says copy link. So I'm going to copy the link. So it is now copied onto my clipboard. Now I can go back over to Google and go in here and say, let me get all the way out of here. Click the plus, add another calendar. This time I'm going to add a calendar from a URL. And I'm just going to paste that URL into here and make it public and then add that calendar. And if I did that right, hopefully, yes. So now I have this is the Google, the Apple Calendar that I just brought in. And here's 2 events that were on that calendar. I'm going to rename it because it says home. That's what it's called in iCloud. But I can rename that and call it iCloud. It's a little more descriptive. So these are events that came from my iCloud calendar. If I open the event, it tells me it came from iCloud. I can't change these. Again, this is share view only, so all I can do is look at it. I can turn them off over here, but that's the only thing I can do. It is showing the event it's not showing, it's not letting me do anything else. So you can theoretically have an iCloud calendar, an Outlook calendar, a Yahoo calendar, a couple of Google calendars. It can get really, really busy on your calendar, but that's kind of your choice. Questions about this? This is a little complicated.
I know that was my question at one time. I started out putting all these meetings on, get set up on my Yahoo, and I really liked this one better. And, you know, I didn't know how to do it, and I kept asking, and, you know, I guess we didn't have a class at that time. But anyway, I just stopped using it. And in May, I started just using this calendar instead.
Okay. Yeah. So this is, you know, this is how you could see that Google calendar or that Yahoo calendar on your, because maybe you had some things over there, or you, for whatever reason, you wanted to keep using both of them.
No.
I'm not sure why. It's probably not a great thing to do. It's more typical. Maybe your spouse uses Apple, and so you want to bring in that his Apple calendar into your Google calendar would probably be a more likely scenario than that you're using Apple and Google.
No, he uses a wall calendar.
My wife does too.
But he takes apart a calendar every year and just glues it to the wall right here next to and that's where he puts all his doctor visits and whatever.
If that works, that's fine. All right. So any other questions before we move on? This is probably the main part. And there's one other thing in here I'm going to click into since we're here, and this kind of goes over to what Nelda was talking about. The last option down here is import. And so let's say you were using Yahoo Calendar and you decided you like Google Calendar better. You would have to go to Yahoo Calendar and there would be an export option. And here there's an export where I could export out of Google into somewhere else. You would go to Yahoo or Apple or whatever and find the export, and it will create a file and put it on your device. Then you would come here to this import option, and you'd have to go grab that same calendar file that you put there, and it'll bring in everything from your other calendar and load it into your Google Calendar. So this is a one-time copy over. It's not a ongoing where you're syncing calendars. It's a one-time copy and paste, if you will. But that's how, if you're switching over, if you've got events scheduled out for the next 12 months on another calendar, you could bring that 12 months worth of stuff over as well as previous events. So that's used more if you're flipping from one calendar to another, as opposed to two active calendars and you want to share them both on the screen. My work calendar and my personal calendar, they're both actively being used. So I wouldn't do this. Okay, does that make sense, or did I confuse you?
No, makes sense.
Okay, all right, great. So that's lots and lots and lots of stuff you can do around adding calendars. That's one thing I like about Google Calendar. It does give you lots of options. Most of the other calendars have some of these. I don't know that any of them have quite as many options as Google does. So that's one of the ways I like this one. All right, let's talk about a couple of other settings that are interesting and kind of in that intermediate level. These are things that you might use, you might never need, but it's kind of nice to know they're there. And we're going to go up here to the settings. And we're going to click here and go into settings. And the first thing we want to look at is adding a secondary time zone. I'll give you a scenario. Maybe your kids live in California and you live on the East Coast, and you're always having to do in your mind, okay, what time is it where they are? You can actually put a second time zone on your calendar just by clicking here where it says display second time zone. And then you can click here to pick what time zone you want, Pacific time, Mountain time, maybe they live in Europe, whatever. You can pick whichever one you want. And now if I go back to my calendar, it has Eastern time and Pacific time showing up beside each line. So I don't have to try and do it in my mind. I can say, oh, 5 o'clock, that's 2 o'clock Pacific time. Everybody see that one? Get why that makes sense? Maybe. Again, if you have somebody in another time zone that you're in, it's probably even more so if you have people that are in London or China or somewhere that it's hard to do that math in your head. The next one is, let me go back into settings. I'm going to turn that off because I don't really need that. So if I don't want it, I can turn it off. So it's very easy to toggle it on and off. And this is kind of getting into that other scenario where you want to have a world clock set up. So in this case, you can set up different time zones and have them available over on the side of your calendar. So I've got Pacific time, I've got Australia time. I can add another one, whatever else I might want. Fiji time. And let me show you where those show up. So if we go back over into the cloud, they show up down here. So when it's 5:05 here, it's 2:05 in Los Angeles, it's 7:05 in Australia, it's 9:05 in Fiji. So instead of having it beside each line over here, it's over here. The good thing is you can have more than one. You can only add 1 second time over here. You can put as many as you want over here in your world clock. So if you're kind of the same scenarios. Questions? There's a couple of other things I can go over that are related to calendar, but I'm going to stop here to see if there are any other calendar specific questions before I move on.
So Wade, at the top of your calendar, and maybe you're going to cover this, it says, wash the car first quarter 3:13 p.m. and take out trash. Are those reoccurring events?
Those are not, and that is a segue to what we're going to talk about next. But well, the one of them, this one, first quarter 3:13, and again, everything is color coded. I can come over to see what's that color, and that is the phase of the moon. And if you're not quite sure, you can always turn it off. And if it takes it away, that's where that came from. So that's where it shows me the phases of the moon. These are reminders, and this is a task. So those are the two things that are related that I was going to talk about next. So if there's no other questions about anything else, let's go into those. We talk about reminders in the other class, but let me just quickly go over those. Reminders are things that you're going to do. Typically, events are things that you're going to be doing with another person, whereas reminders and tasks are things you're doing yourself. Is one of the big differences. They're much shorter. I'll create a new reminder just to kind of show you how that works. It's summertime, and I need to make sure I water the ferns every weekend. So I can click here. And when you click to create an event, you also have the option of making a task or a reminder as well, or instead. So I'm going to do another reminder here. Just say water the ferns. And you can make it repeating if you want to, and I do need to do that every week. So I'll make it repeating. I'm going to save that. And here it is, water the ferns. So I can put it on a specific time. A lot of the tasks maybe aren't specific to a time. I just have to water them sometime on Saturday. So I'm going to edit it and instead say it's an all-day event, meaning I can do it anytime Saturday. Doesn't have to be exactly at 5 o'clock. I just need to make sure I get it done before the plants die. Do I want to change just this reminder or this one and all the following ones? I want to change all the following ones. What that does is it puts it up at the top. So anything up at the top is an all-day event. I made it repeating, so it's out there every Saturday into the future. If I've done something, I had washed the car today, I've washed a car, I can click here and mark it as done. That way I know I did it. it leaves it up here with a strike through it that tells me that I did it. If I'm not sure what I did, it doesn't show me any longer. It just says one reminder done, but I can click on it and it'll tell me what I did. I washed the car. That's a nice thing about reminders, as opposed to if I just put a event down here, I could have put an event, but there's no way to say that I did it. This way I can mark it off as done. Questions about reminders? They're very straightforward.
So if you have 2 reminders on a particular date, it will just stack them?
It will tell you, let's do another, let's say I'm really picky about my car, so I'm gonna wash the car again. And it's an all day, sometime during the day. It tells me I've got 2 reminders. So it doesn't stack them. It puts them both in the same one. When I open it, I see the 2. I can say which one I did and leave the other one undone. So I could say that I washed the car. I haven't watered the ferns yet. It actually takes that one and it put it over here because it says when you did it. Since I said today that I washed the car, it tells me on Tuesday I washed the car twice. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but you get the idea. So if you do it early, it puts it in the day you actually did it, not the day you said you were going to do it.
Where do you go to set up reminders? I'm sorry, I see reminders on my list, but I
2 ways to do it. You can click on the a time slot
oh, I see.
where you want to do it. And then you just click reminder over here instead of event.
Oh, okay.
The other way to do it is to click up here where it says create, and it works the same way.
Okay. Okay.
So those are reminders. Let's talk about task, because that's the other thing. Google gives you sometimes too many options for things, but and reminders and tasks are very similar, but there's some differences as well. And let me say, I need to take the car into the shop Saturday. I have an appointment at 1 o'clock. So I'm going to come over here to Saturday at 1 o'clock and create a task. And that task is take car to shop. And what I can do with task is I can get a little more specific. I can say why I'm taking it in. I need to change the oil. I need to rotate the tires. Wiper blades are streaking, so I need new wiper blades. So I can put more information. There's no place in a reminder to put all this stuff. I could put a reminder to take the car to the shop, but I'd have to keep a list somewhere else of what I want to do. So that's a nice thing about task over reminders. You can also have multiple task lists. I've got a personal task list. I've got a work task list. So that's another advantage. I can still do the all day thing. In this case, it really does have to be done at 1 o'clock. So I want to leave it at that particular time. I'm going to save that. And now here's a task over here to take the car to the shop. Now, tasks are also giving a little higher level prestige within Google. Over here on the side, there are some other tools you can get to, some other apps you can get to, and tasks is one of them. So I click over here, I'll see that task I just put in there to take the car to the shop. You can tell I washed the car lot. I can also add a task that doesn't have a time associated with it, like this one. I just know I need to wash the task sometime. I'm not even going to put it on a particular day. I can add tasks by clicking here. I also need to clean out the garage. Again, I just got to do it. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to say what day. I just need to get it done. You can move these around and kind of prioritize them. Washing the car is a higher priority than cleaning the garage. But I got 2 things here that need to happen on a certain date and time. These are my personal tasks. I can go look at my work task. if I need to make a new one, now that I'm working at Habitat, that's something new. I can create a new list and call it Habitat. So I can keep track of my Habitat tasks. So I can add task here if there's things I need to do for Habitat. So again, a little more specificity. If I need to edit one of these, I can just actually click on it. And I've put in here, those items that I need underneath this is the item I need to buy. Questions about tasks? Tasks, again, are for things that are a little more complicated.
How do you differentiate between reminders and tasks again? I mean, what's the difference besides the color?
Really, if it's simple, I mean, take out the trash, I know what that means. That's all I need to know, take out the trash.
Mhm.
Whereas taking the car to the shop, I got to remember what I want them to do.
Okay.
If I didn't have a place to put this, I'd have to have another piece of paper with a note of the things I needed to do when I got there. One of the ones I use is, let me go over here and let me create a new task. And so I can start adding, details here, the things I need to do. What paint I need to buy, if I need to buy anything else. So you can add a lot more details around things you need to do as part of something big like painting the kitchen.
Mhm.
That's the biggest difference. If it's simple like watering the ferns or taking out the trash, I use a reminder. If it's something that there's other things I need to remember, I use a task.
Okay, thank you.
And of course, you could use an event for any of this stuff as well. So there's nothing that makes you take things that you're going to do yourself. I could put an event here that says car to shop and put it on my list. Oh, and you can even change the color. So if there's an event and I said I want to make tasks be yellow, or maybe I'll make them red so I'll remember them. They're bright. So I can even change the color so that blue is meetings and red is a task. So again, Google gives you lots of ways to do the same thing. You kind of pick which ones work for you.
So Wade, I was just looking at my own calendar and I have added 4 tasks, but I added them to the right of the calendar like you just did. But I don't have dates associated with them. Is that why they don't appear on the actual calendar?
Yes. Yeah. If you've got a date, they'll be on the calendar. If I just have something, this basically means I need to do it. I don't know when I'm going to get it done. I'm going to do it. Now, if I decide I want to paint the kitchen Friday morning, I can come into here and add a date and time and put it on my calendar for Friday at, I'm going to get up early and get started at 8 a.m. That now should be May 1st at 8 a.m. And oh, there it is. Paint the kitchen. It's now on my calendar, Friday at 8 a.m.
Okay.
So that's how now reminders have to be on the calendar. There's no way to have a reminder that's not on the calendar. That's another difference. If you just got some stuff you want to do, you don't want to forget to do it, but they're just kind of, when I got time, I'll clean out the garage. It may take me a month to clean out the garage, but at some point I need to do it. That would have to go in the task list. There's no way to have things like that on your calendar. Yep.
How do you put the time in?
Yep. Let me just go in again. So click the little
Details.
task here. So here's one that doesn't have a time, clean the garage. I just clicked it and come down here to where it says date and time and click that.
I did, and okay, it just says today. Oh, set time. Okay, I see. So I need to set a time for,
Yeah,
let's
Yeah,
say,
pick a date.
4.
And yes, right. Yeah, set time is a separate step. Yes, 2-step. And you can make it repeating as well. So if you're going to do this
Got it.
every week, you do have the option to repeat as well.
Okay, it showed up. Thank you.
Okay.
I like.
And I don't have that, again, I don't have that on my right, that,
Look down here at the bottom. There's a little control that says hide side panel or show side panel. It may be turned off.
okay, yeah, you told me that last time too, and I forgot. There-
Yeah. Okay. So it's a little tricky and it's hard to see that one down there. It's so little if you don't know it's there. Yeah. Other questions? I got time, another minute or two for any other questions about anything we covered or anything we didn't cover.
I have maps on my side panel as well. I mean, I know how you use maps, but is there a certain reason why maps is there?
Google thought it was a good thing to have. This is pretty recent. This wasn't here until
Oh.
maybe like 2 months ago. You don't have any control over it. You can't decide. So they just decided it would be a good thing to have a map over here.
Okay. I mean, so we can't like, it's not, I was just wondering, could you map someplace where you're going, like going to a doctor's office if it's the first time, and then put it with the account or the date, that the schedule, the date of the doctor's appointment, do they link? That's what I was just wondering.
Well, you can put it on the calendar. And so if you go in here to the calendar, there is a place to put the location, and this is using
Right,
Google
I
Maps.
know that. And I wondered
Right.
if they link the map to the location, so you could pull up the map at the same time that you opened up but maybe not.
Maybe I haven't figured out why they put that over here. I haven't seen a
Oh.
link to the map in this.
Okay,
And I haven't had time to search to see what it might be. But I haven't, other than just a quick way to get to the map, but I haven't seen a way to actually link something like here where you're putting, the time into it and it links that task to that calendar
yeah,
event.
okay, I don't think so.
Yeah, I haven't figured that one out if it is. It's popped
Yeah.
up fairly recently and I haven't taken the time to to research.
That
it
would be
to
kind
see.
of cool if they did that.
Yeah, I'm going to look at that one. I haven't thought about that. And there's some kind of link. And I'll just throw this one out. This is Google Keep, and there's another whole class on Google Keep. But that's what this one is. It gets into even more detail. This is good for things like to-do lists, shopping lists. There's a lot of overlap between Keep and Task as well. But if you're interested in finding out about Google Keep, we do have a class on Google Keep.
So the Google Mastering class is the same one that you had last week, right?
Yeah, the Mastering Google Calendar.
Google, yeah. I signed up for the one tomorrow. I'm gonna cancel it. 'Cause I already had it.
That
But
is
Google
the,
Keep, okay.
Yeah.
That's the next one.
yeah, that's that one.
Okay.
And all right, got time for one last question. If anybody else has a question.
What time is your beginners class tomorrow? Because I need to take that before I can take this one again.
Okay. Yep. I'll show you. Don't let me forget. We're going to go to our homepage and I'll show you how to find it.
Thank you.
Let's go ahead and go to the closing because we're about to run out of time here. So
I'm sorry, my computer just completely shut down, so I had to get on my phone. It
Oh,
will not
okay.
even, it will not even turn on anymore. There's we're having bad weather, so that might be it.
oh no, yeah, it says I might be okay. We're glad you made it back in.
Where do you live?
Pretty close to San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, yeah, you were supposed to have bad weather today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and what was hit Louisiana yesterday's probably.
What's weird is that all my computer is showing is the Dell sign in the middle. I can't even turn it off. It won't turn off and it's like frozen. So I don't
Oh,
know.
dear.
Yeah, I have to do a hard boot on it. Just hold the on button down for about 5 seconds and it'll shut down.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the official end of the class. And I do want to thank you for attending and hope you've learned some things that are going to be interesting and valuable for you. There are a couple of related classes, Introduction to Google Apps and Getting Started with Gmail, and as well as the Mastering Google Calendar class. I'll show you how to get to that class in just a minute. First, I want to go over what will happen after class. You'll get an email, and in that email, the class notes, and it'll have some links to some websites that will have some related information, some of the same information we covered in class and some related information. I'll also put links to some of those relevant classes in there as well to help you find those. If you want to recommend the class to a friend, you can do that via Facebook or email. At the top in that email, you also have links to some other classes, and you can also give feedback on this class. Click Give Feedback. It opens the feedback form where you can rate the class 1 to 5 stars, rate the guide 1 to 5 stars, only 2 questions. There's a place for comments. We hope you'll add comments, and done. And then there's also a link to view your schedule. And this is where I'll show you how to find that other class. So if you want to find that Mastering Google class, you can do just type Google Calendar, and it'll show you all the Google Calendar classes. You're going to have to spell the whole thing out. Just start typing it and it'll pop up. So this is the class you just took. Here's the Mastering Google Calendar class. And I think that is...
There's no Google Keep. Is there a Google Keep class coming up?
Yeah, we'll check that one next. So yeah, the Google, the basic one is the 19th. So it is tomorrow at 11 Eastern. Yeah, if you want to find that Keep class, I'll just type Keep, and there's Google Keep. Let's see when that one. Okay, that one's not on the calendar for the next 2 weeks. We only book about 2 weeks out.
Oh, okay.
So what this does, if you click Notify Me, when it comes back on the calendar, we'll send you an email with a link to register for it. So that way you don't have to keep checking to see if it's on the calendar yet.
Very nice.
So it is an active one, but we only run that one about every 3rd week. So it's not in the 2-week rotation. It'll be probably in the next week. Okay. A couple of things I want to show you quickly here. From the home screen, we've got a link to your schedule. You can also get there by clicking Schedule and My Schedule. This just saves you a couple of clicks, but it shows you the classes you're already signed up for. When it's time for the class, you can launch from here. You don't have to keep those emails. If you have a conflict come up and you want to cancel a class, you can cancel a class from here. I showed you how to search for classes in the search bar up here. If there's certain guides that you like and you want to see what classes they're going to be teaching, you can do the same thing by putting their name in the search instead of the class name, and hit enter. And it'll show you what they're scheduled for that 2-week window. And this is chronological. So it starts with what I'm teaching tomorrow morning and kind of goes through the next 2 weeks. So you can scroll through. If there's a class you want to take, you can just click on it. And that one I've already registered for. Let me pick a different one because I wanted to show you one other thing. Done this a lot, so I've registered myself for a lot of the classes. Let's see if there's a slot in this one. Okay, yes. So if I want to book, this one's going to be 2 slots available. I'll go ahead and book it for the May 26th. When you click book, it will let you put it on the calendar. We kind of talked about that, but since this is a calendar class, we'll talk about this. So if you want to add it to your calendar, you can pick which calendar you want to put it on, and we support all the different calendars. Or I can skip this for now. And but if I want to invite someone to the class, you can click Invite a Friend and put their email address here and click here, and we'll send them a link to that same class that you're taking. So you'll be in the same class. Or if you want to put it in your own email, you can copy the link here paste it into your email and send it to several friends, or to post it on Facebook, however you want to share that.
I don't see your class though. I'm looking, I don't see your class.
Which one are you looking for?
The beginners?
Well, okay, it's not called Beginners, it's called Mastering Google Calendar.
I don't see that though.
So I'm going to type Google Calendar here. And you should see Mastering Google Calendar right here under it when you type in Google Calendar or Google CAL. Is that working?
Actually, I don't see where I can search for it, because I'm in the the website, but I'm not seeing where to search.
It should be that from any page. I'll go back to the home page. It's up here in this top bar.
I have another class coming at 5:30, so I
Okay.
have to go.
Yep. So
Bye, thank you.
yeah, we're gonna go and end the class. I'll stay a minute and help you find that class. But thanks everybody for coming. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. So Lynette, did you find it?
No, I'm in the website, Learn Anything, but I can't find the search button for it to find the class.
Yeah, you don't see this little search window, this little
Like a
at the top?
magnifying glass. No, I don't see it.
Huh. I'm not sure what's going on. Then click schedule. Do you see schedule over here? You see where I'm pointing, where it says schedule?
Where are you pointing?
Right. Can you see my cursor
Okay,
over the left-hand side?
okay, let me see.
Bye, Wade.
Okay, thanks, Todd.
No, a view schedule. I see view schedule.
Are you in getsetup.io?
I was, yeah.
Okay, so you
Yeah,
should.
I am. Yeah, right. That's io. Yeah.
So if you click schedule there, it should have browse and my schedule. Do you see those two?
No, but don't let me keep you back. I'm gonna because I've been taking other classes, right? So somehow I'm gonna find your class. It's at 11 tomorrow, so I'm gonna try to get into it.
I tell you what, Lynette, it's going to be in the email that comes out after class. I'm going to put a link in there as well. So if you get that email that
good.
comes out after class, I'll put a link in there to it.
Thank you so much.
Okay, no problem. Thanks.
Take care. Thank you so much.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.